One, and let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so just a quick note about the agenda before we approve it. We have the organizational meeting and all the things as a part of that. Before we get into it, we're going to have a presentation from Michael Hart from PTMA about the recent bond sale. This is like a timely matter that the board needs to
Was
take
this
action
on here when it's like new since we got sent it on earlier in the week?
It's an addition, yeah. So we had the bond sale this week, so now the board needs to take action on that. There's a timing thing, so Michael's going to give the presentation here first, and then we're going to do the organizational meeting, and then at the end of the organizational meeting, basically the last agenda item is we're going to take the action. But just because of timing, it's going to be a little disjointed. So I just wanted everybody to know that and go from there. So. All right, in that case, we just, 3.0 is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Well, we're going to do all roll call tonight. So Rogers?
Aye.
Jansen?
Aye.
McClone?
Aye.
Reddix? He's on there. Shirley? Aye. Okay, agenda's approved. We don't know.
There he is.
I approve.
Okay, we got to do all roll call, so we're gonna look to you, Eric, if you want to vote.
Okay.
You don't necessarily have to vote, but
He showed up on Zoom too.
But there
just
you
to
go.
Make sure he's not treacher.
okay. So
That is
4.0.
exactly right.
All right, so 4.0 is our bond sale informational presentation with PTMA. Michael Hart with PTMA is here to do that for us. Welcome, Michael.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I was at your board meeting last month to describe the sale process, and we conducted the bond sale yesterday morning, which is why you just received the information here in your board packet late, because we were just pulling it together late yesterday and this morning with the final information. I'm going to share my screen so that we have the presentation up. So we're looking at the same thing. Let me know when you can see that.
We can see it.
We're good.
Good. So just a reminder what we're doing here. We held a bond sale for two purposes. The first purpose was to execute the bond sale related to the referendum that was successful back in November. For the projects that were on the ballot related to that, the $6,650,000 is what your voters approved. So we're proceeding forward with that. In addition to that, it made sense to look at your current outstanding bonds for potential to refinance, or what we call in our business refund outstanding bonds. And your 2017 bonds were eligible, and also we believe we could lower the interest rate. So we were putting those two things together. By doing the refunding bond along with the new bond, it created some efficiencies in cost in process. When we held the bond sale yesterday, we received 7 bids from investment banks across the country, with the most favorable bid coming from Fidelity Capital Markets in Boston, Massachusetts, at a 3.47% interest rate. And you can see on the screen there where the bids are. They were all around that 3.5% rate. And as long as we get at least 5 of them and they're kind of grouped together, we know that we had a really competitive, strong process, and we were in the market in a good day. And so when we look at that and compare it to the information that I shared with you back last month, just looking at the school building bond portion, or the new voter approved portion, we sold $6,650,000. The interest rate is about 0.5% less than what we had shared with you at that time. Now, the numbers I shared with you in December had 0.25% cushion in them. So the interest rates have improved over the last month, about 0.25%. But you put those two things together, the total debt service, so the principal and interest together, is over $400,000 less. and the deposit to the construction fund, or the amount of funds you're going to have available for the project, is about $155,000 more. So you have 6.9 million to start with for the project overall. So a very, very positive sale result. We saw, we had expected this, we planned for it, but we don't control what goes on in the market. Oftentimes, this first part of the year is a really good time to be selling bonds for school districts. And we saw that play out here for you. In terms of the overall bond payment structure, if you remember this chart, this shows your current payments in blue on your current outstanding bonds, and the yellow represents this new bond issue. So the tax impact or the tax increase that we represented to your voters is still going to stay steady. It's the same tax increase, but what we were able to do was to reduce that last year payment. So where the bar is getting smaller there in 2046. In the original plan, when we planned this back in June, those payments were all going to be level or steady over time. And that last payment is more than $1 million less. It's about $1.3 million less than the payment in 2045, which is just money that either will come in the form of a tax reduction in the future, or will give you more flexibility to do something else as a school district due to the favorable bond sale results today. That's a long time in the future, but we're doing our part to set the folks in this room up for success later. In relation to the refunding bond component, the main thing here is that savings line on the bottom, and this savings is after all costs of issuance have been paid related to the refunding components of that. We had estimated about $54,000 of savings, and that increased to $178,000. So a much nicer number than what we shared in December. And we were able to be opportunistic and make that happen. That $178,000 doesn't come all at once. It comes as a reduction in your payments going forward over the next 10 years. And so this chart is showing you that it's really reducing their payments about $18,000, $19,000 each year going forward for the total of the $178,000. Sometimes we talk about, in finance, we talk about present value dollars, with the acknowledgement that a future dollar isn't worth as much as a dollar today. And that's what this $143,000 is at the bottom. If you put it all in today's dollars, that's kind of the representative amount of the savings, $143,000. We also have provided here, there's a lot of detail here. I think it's important to provide this just by way of transparency to you and your community. This outlines the two different purposes in the total issue summary of how we get to the full amount. But more importantly, it provides your detail on the professional services that you pay for as a part of the bond issuance process. In terms of the process forward here, you have a resolution on your agenda tonight, as the chair just mentioned after your organizational meeting. That resolution ratifies the sale that was conducted and awarded yesterday. The bond would close then on February 4th. So that's the day that the money is actually received by the school district. And we will pay off those old bonds on February 8th at that time. And starting from that February 4th date, you'll have these funds available to draw for project expenditures as they come due. We'll also help you manage the investments of the funds so that you're not going to need all that money up front as the project plays out over the next couple of years. We can help you invest that money so that any additional interest earned can be used toward the project. And we are also as a school district, get the benefit of issuing tax exempt bond issues. So that's why your interest rate is below 3.5%, is that there's a special IRS exemption, which allows you to get that lower interest rate from the market. That, like many things related to the IRS, comes with a whole set of regulations and rules that we call arbitrage rebate regulations. And so we are going to be here and helping you through the process as you spend this money to make sure that you're in compliance and understanding of those rules, and don't foul up any of those IRS regulations as we go through the process. So, to kind of wrap it up, it was a great result, a really strong result in relation to the market, better than what we had expected. The other thing that I failed to mention prior is that as a part of this process over the last month, the school district did go to get a refreshed rating from Moody's Investor Service. This rating is kind of analogous to a credit score that you might do as an individual if you're getting, a car loan or a home loan. It's a different scale, but they write a report that gets sent out to the market on the school district's ability to repay the bonds. And we get that report as a way to lower the interest rate. And in your case, your rating is very, very strong, especially given the size of your school district in terms of just student enrollment. You have a very strong rating, which is part of the reason that we were able to receive such strong bids in the market environment. And that strong rating comes from the strong financial management that happens by the school board and the administration. And that was acknowledged, seen, and helpful in this process. So I am happy to take any questions about this, or if you have any questions kind of looking ahead to the resolution, I'm happy to do that as well.
Do you have an estimate for how much interest income we'll earn on this portion?
We will have an estimate for you in more detail within a few weeks of when that bond closes in February. And I know that's an important part of budgeting for the projects as you go forward. We provided some estimates similar to that to the school district related to the bond sale from a year ago, related to those projects. And we would anticipate doing that here. And so we'll be working on that here in the next couple months and be able to report back to the board on that.
Sure. Okay. One other quick question, just out of curiosity. Getting the rating report from Moody's, is that a required part of the process, or is that just something that we opted into?
It is not a required part of the process, but if you do not do it, you would see a much higher interest rate. And there is, if you look at this cost of issuance, you did pay for that as a part of it, about $30,000. But that paid for itself many, many times over in relation to a lower interest rate overall.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at that, and that's kind of what I figured, that it's worth the spend. So, okay. Cool. Any other questions from anybody while we've got Michael? And you're gonna log off here, right? And then when we take action, you won't necessarily be here. So now's the time to ask questions.
Yep.
So.
No, it's great.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Michael.
We like good news.
For sure.
We do.
We need, every last one of those pennies we can eke out of this, Seriously. Okay.
Nickels, as it were. I guess you're not printing.
Yeah, they're not, no more
No,
pennies.
right, shoot. Yeah, no more pennies. Okay, so we'll come back to that at 7.0, but now we'll hop into the organizational meeting stuff. Okay, so 5.0 is the organization of the board. And just by way of, we've all done this before, but just before we dive into this, just give everybody a quick refresh on the process that we'll do here. So we'll elect the chair, the clerk, and the treasurer. All three are the same process, starting with the board chair, and we'll open nominations. Anybody can nominate anybody, including yourself. Nominations don't require a second. If there's more than one nomination for any particular office, we will do a vote, like a roll call vote. Let's say there's 3 nominations for a particular office. We'll just say, Jansen, who do you vote for this office? And you say the name, and that's how we'll do it. We'll go around the room. You just say the name that you vote for, and then if there's only one nomination, then we have to vote. And I think that's it. You need to have a majority of votes. And that's 3, since we're all here. Am I missing anything or any questions on that? Quinn, most of us have done this a bunch of times. Quinn,
Yeah, so I got it.
you got that? Okay. And I'll request nominations or open it and ask multiple times just to give us all the opportunity to chime in. So, all right, having said all that, we'll jump right in here with 5.1, which is the election of the board chair. So nominations are now open for the office of board chair.
I nominate Dan.
Okay, Dan has been nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of board chair? Are there any other nominations for the office of board chair? Are there any other nominations for the office of board chair? Okay, if there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of board chair are closed. Being only one nomination, Dan is elected by acclamation.
I just want to say that I think you've done a very good job.
Well, thanks.
I do. It's a lot. And I appreciate how much attention you put out.
Well, I appreciate that this board is such a good team. That we're all working together for sure on this. So
I also appreciate that you continue to do this.
Yes, thank you for being willing.
Right?
That's fun.
That's a big step.
willingness, right? That's the first step. Willingness, and then capacity. Yeah. Well,
You never want to leave with that.
I've been lost my mind yet. Okay, so willingness, keeping that in mind here as we move on. So we're going to move on to 5.2, which is the election of board clerk. So nominations are now open for the office of clerk.
I nominate myself.
Okay, Carrie has been nominated for clerk. Are there any other nominations for the office of clerk? Are there any other nominations for the office of clerk? Are there any other nominations for the office of clerk? Okay, being there are no further nominations, nominations are now closed for the office of clerk. And with one nomination, Carrie has been elected clerk by acclamation for 2026. Congratulations. And thank you. For doing the clerk because you have to be the backup.
I can do that.
She
So
just didn't
Sign a lot of
She
things.
just didn't want to be treasurer.
I just don't want to be treasurer. I've done it now. For years you were like, but you should try it.
now you've done it. That's good. That's good.
I did.
But I did it for years.
You did it for years, yep.
So now the real fun begins. Okay.
Actually, happy to do it again.
So five.
It's to me.
You will?
Yeah, so no one else thinking it's great.
Oh, good. I'm nominating you.
Okay, good. Okay, so 5.3 is the election of board treasurer. Nominations are now open for the office of treasurer.
I nominate Quinn.
Okay, Quinn has been nominated for the office of treasurer. Are there any further nominations for the office of treasurer?
Oh,
Eric's chomping at the bit.
Are there any further nominations for the office of treasurer? Are there any further nominations for the office of treasurer? Okay, being there are no more nominations, nominations are now closed. And Quinn is elected as treasurer for 2026 by acclamation.
thank you. Quinn.
Thank you, Quinn. Okay. All right, so 6.0 is our organizational board business. 6.1 is a review of our policy 209, the code of ethics. That's in the packet. This is just a kind of an annual reminder to board members that you should just take a look at that and read through it. It's not long, but I won't read it out for the whole group right now, but it's worth reading. This is kind of the code that we live by and that our policy says that we need to do. So good stuff in there to review, and also good for anyone in the public to review that as well so they can kind of understand how the board operates. Okay, 6.2 is to approve the meeting place, times, and dates for our school board meetings for 2026. We have in the packet a proposed calendar. that includes both of our business meetings and our work sessions, with two of our work sessions being held in Grand Portage. One in October and one in March.
The March one is on the 12th because of Eats on the 5th. It's been a conflict in the past.
The red, okay, there, sorry, I caught it. Just had to scroll down.
So the red are school breaks. There's been a little, it's typically the first and third Thursday, and a couple of dates have been already kind of monkeyed with due to some of those conflicts that we know about. So
January,
That one.
January and December have been moved.
And October is always. moved.
Yeah, October is
It's
moved.
standard, but it's not the third Thursday.
Yep.
So, yeah, so these items we'll just need to take action on. So if there are questions or any other comments, we just motion.
I'll make a motion. Allowed to?
You are.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, Rogers,
Aye.
Jansen,
Aye.
McClone,
Aye.
Reddix,
Aye.
Shirley, aye. Okay. Motion carries. 6.3 is to approve staff eligible to conduct electronic fund transfers. And the recommendation here is to approve the business manager as the district staff that's eligible to conduct the fund transfers for 2026, which is not a change from past practice.
I motion to approve the IC 166 business manager.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Just point of information so board members know, every time one of those is done, I get an email from the bank and then I sign the printed evidence of that, so that there's a cross check.
It's also looked at by the.
And then the
treasurer.
treasurer sees it as well.
Yeah.
We have some checks and balances.
Yep.
I imagine that, are there more and more of those that happen
Yes.
these days? I imagine with
Yep.
just
For example,
less physical
yeah.
checks.
Yes. For example, we bought a bus and they're like, well, we'll come up and get the check. And it's like, no, we can electronically transfer you $150,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But most of the time it's like twice a month for payroll and bills. Pretty standard.
Right. Well, this is a question I maybe should know the answer to. Do we have a credit card?
We have a credit card. Maybe
Yeah.
two.
I guess it's used to like. book
And it's run by,
hotels and
yes,
stuff.
managed by Kay and Teresa,
Yeah.
mostly for travel.
Yeah. And do those expenditures come through on like well, I mean, it's not a technical electronic funds transfer, but it's kind of in
Trying to
that
think, it would
vein.
probably be in a bill report, right?
They get paid through
The bills.
the bill gets paid through electronic transfer and the bill has everything on it.
It's got it all
Itemized.
itemized on
Yep.
there. Okay,
Very
Cool.
detailed.
yeah, cool. Great. Okay, any other further discussion on that? Questions? Rogers,
Aye.
Jansen,
Aye.
McClone,
Aye.
Reddix,
Aye.
Shirley, aye. Motion carries. All right. 6.4 are our committee assignments. We've got the current slate in the packet here. Our policy doesn't have us take action on this. This is technically determined by the board chair, although our practice has been a little bit more democratic than that. But that being said, as we kind of lead into this, happy to get people's feedback if they have particular interests about a change or something. But my recommendation is to not make any changes, in particular around the negotiation teams. We're midstream of negotiations with the teachers. We're about to tee up the confidential employees, we kind of talked about this last year, but we haven't started that process yet. So my recommendation would be to leave them as is, since we're kind of in the middle of the
Do
process.
it like every other year, so this group, other than Rena and I who are in it, we haven't actually done last year's job.
Exactly.
of it yet.
Exactly.
As
So it
we
doesn't,
Probably discussed it deeply at that time.
right. So changing it now, yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't make sense.
Midstream.
It doesn't make sense.
So that makes sense to me too, as you.
So, so I would, for the negotiations, and then as far as the other pieces here, certainly welcome to this discussion on that, but I would otherwise just keep that the same as well. Eric, you still good with being the LIEC liaison?
Yep.
Great. And Quinn, you've been participating in community ed advisory. Have you been able to attend those meetings? They're not like quarterly, maybe.
I
You've
mean,
been at a few, a
I've
couple.
been at a few. I feel like I missed one and then they tapered out a little bit, or
It's every other.
Really
month.
miscommunication too.
yeah.
It's on
So-
Wednesdays at 8:30.
I intend to go. Yes. So
Get drop off day.
Well, yeah, if it's maybe, a good time to reconnect with those that are in charge and be like, hey, remember to keep me on that list.
Yeah, totally.
So, okay. All right, well, we'll move on from this. We'll keep it like this for this year and then we'll talk about it again next year.
We can grade each other on how we did in our negotiations and
Yeah.
completed them.
I mean, it's, as long as everything goes well,
Right.
then you get an A+.
I think that's true.
Okay. 6.5 is to establish the compensation rates for school board members. This is something that, let's see, our current is in the packet here. We get an annual stipend and some additional for negotiations and the IRS mileage. Open to discussion on this. I don't personally have a recommendation for making a change.
We just made a change last year, didn't we?
Was it last
Somewhat
year?
Recently, we made it.
Someone recently.
I don't think it was last year. Yeah.
Might have been the year before, but yeah, it was recent.
1 year, now that's been a long time ago, so I think this marks I've been on the board for a decade now, so maybe it seems like these kids keep growing, but I'm not aging. But 1 year early on in my time on the board, I did a ton of research about what other boards made and blah, 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 and I was honestly curious. And it's all over the place and there's no consistency and lots of different ways to do it and
It's true.
then I think we all kind of were moderately disinterested in it's weird to give yourself a raise, but
For sure.
our time is of value.
It's true.
I'm not going anywhere with that other than.
Well, it is true. And that was compiled into a spreadsheet or something that.
Yeah, I think
I
you
don't-
were on the board when I did that.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I don't know if that spreadsheet is somewhere, but it might be, and Quinn might be interested in looking at that or something, because it is pretty diverse for
Mhm.
sure. And we were there was nothing about our rates that were an outlier up or down. They were just kind of in there. in
Yeah.
terms of
They were so all over the
districts.
board too, that there was hard to even choose a median
Yeah,
norm.
Mhm.
for sure.
Definitely some people make more and some people make less.
Yep. I mean, it's true that valuing people's time makes the job more accessible to people to participate, and that's important for sure.
That was maybe what you proposed 2 years ago, if I recall, was making sure that it helped people have the option to run, to at least say like, it's not costing my gas money, it's, you know.
But I never had any idea when I ran that there was any compensation.
Yeah, I did.
You could in theory find out. I don't know if I knew either when I ran, but there's gotta be a way to find out.
Yeah, that's a good point, that maybe that's,
I would have run hard.
that should be part of the,
Maybe we should advertise
The
this as a
recruitment.
position, because sometimes we've had a real lack of interest in.
All I
in
know
our
is,
roles.
in that last election, I spent my whole year's amount on ads and signs.
yeah.
You did too,
Yeah,
probably.
you guys, I run opposed every single, or run unopposed every time, so it never occurred to me to spend more than my $2 or whatever that I spend at the courthouse. Would I get compensated by that in the end? $2.
Okay, so we do need to take action on this one. I'm,
So I'll make a motion that we just leave the compensation where it is.
okay.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, further discussion? All right, I'll do the roll call. Rogers,
Aye.
Jansen,
Aye.
McClone,
I,
Reddix,
I,
Shirley, aye. And the motion carries. Okay, 6.6 is to approve the financial institutions for the district as the Grand Marais State Bank, Minnesota Trust with PTMA, MSDLAF, and the North Shore Federal Credit Union. And again, these are all the same
Same.
that we've been working with.
I'll make a motion to approve the current financial institutions moving ahead into the next year.
I'll second it.
Further discussion?
I think just for the sake of, if somebody watches this, maybe there should be why do we choose these, or some,
Yeah, a quick breakdown. What do we do with these different? Because we've got a few.
So Grand Marais State Bank is our major cash flow bank where we're running payroll and bills and things like that through it. The Federal Credit Union manages, we have our scholarship funds in there, which is a fair chunk of change. And then the other two are more investments. So MSDLAF, that is where we put money to stay invested in and we draw out of that for cash flow purposes. And PTMA, it's the organization, same thing, investments, and those are our advisors on cash flow.
do we have a ton of other options? Why did we choose these? Why did we choose these originally, or we just?
These have been in place as long as I've been here. There's not been any reason to need to change anything. I think if I was to make an assumption that someone back in the day said, well, we should spread our business around to a couple local banks. And then use the heavy hitters for the investments.
So the bond money goes where? When we get that?
I wish Teresa was on this call. Probably PTMA.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our general fund that would be in the DLAF fund as a large $7 million pot of money that you pull through Grand Marais State Bank.
As you
month.
pay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we're able to earn a little bit on those.
Yep, that's exactly what the DLAF fund is for. Their expertise is in schools because there's specific laws, like we can't go out and play the stock market in public dollars. So you've got to have a qualified public investor that knows where those caps are.
Sure.
They're endorsed by MSBA and MASA.
Sure. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I feel like those are the types of things our constituents will
For sure.
want us to be asking questions about.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? All right, I'll do the roll call. Rogers,
Aye.
Jansen,
Hi.
McClone,
I,
Reddix,
I,
Shirley, aye. And the motion carries. Okay, 6.7 is to approve the official district newspaper for public notices. And the recommendation is the Cook County News Herald. And they have their rates in our packet.
That have been the same for the last 6 years.
Okay,
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
any further discussion?
Do we have other options? Why do we choose them? The basics things.
No one else has bid. So, and it's the main local paper.
And then what all do we publish in the paper?
Minutes,
And job ads.
yeah, we pay for job ads, but we're required to do minutes and, trying to think of what else we're required to do. Bid postings,
Mhm.
things like that that are required.
Our agenda isn't posted in
I don't think
paper.
you do the agenda, right?
No,
just the minutes.
Okay,
Is there a, I mean, is there, are there requirements that a paper has to hit to be like a newspaper? You know, I mean, not that this isn't leading anywhere, I'm just curious, like, is it, you know, what, do they have to be an official newspaper somehow? You know?
Yeah, and that actually was in the legislature being debated last legislative cycle because there were some districts, the law says you have to publish in a local
Yeah,
newspaper.
yeah.
And there were some districts that have lost their local newspaper. And so they were struggling at the legislature. Well, what do you do if you don't have one? You know, I don't know about parameters other than they need to be considered like local and then it's a bidding process, right? If you got 3 bids, then you'd have the opportunity to pick based upon the rates that they provide. And I suppose thoughts about coverage and things like that. But I've never been in a district that had more than 1 bid.
So even in reasonably small districts, this is,
Yeah,
you know,
it's just
there's,
the local paper.
you've had bigger districts you've been in too, though.
Yeah, and sometimes those get wonky because like Burnsville's 3 counties and
Yeah.
3 to 4 or 5 different municipalities. So I don't really know how we picked on that one.
the New York Times hasn't bid.
Oh, shucks. Why aren't we
Wall
important enough
Street
for that?
Journal.
Okay, did we,
did.
we had a motion and a second, okay,
Yep.
All right.
Accepted.
and I'll start the roll call then. Rogers,
Aye.
Jansen,
Hi.
McClone,
I,
Reddix,
I,
Shirley, aye. Motion carries. All right. 6.8 is to designate authorized contacts to contact legal on behalf of the district. And the recommendation is to designate the superintendent, the board chair, and district office personnel on behalf of the superintendent or chair. This is.
In the district office, would that be Kay and Teresa?
Most likely Teresa. Once in a while, it might be Josh if it's a student discipline issue. And I need him to hear directly from the attorney, like how to steer something.
Is he considered district office personnel? I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
we're, like, is there some
Yeah.
semantic there that we're missing to make sure we.
Well, I think it's not. I don't know that that's necessarily it's not like nobody can talk to the lawyer, but these people, it's like initiating that contact.
Sure,
You know what I
lawyer might need to interview 3 staff members or whatever, yeah,
Right.
Okay.
for sure.
If Chris is like, Josh, you need to talk to the lawyer, you know,
There we go.
that isn't necessarily this situation.
It's more like nobody can just, people can't just do that randomly because of the cost.
Right,
So somebody who has to authorize that contact, right?
And the lawyers are also, the school attorneys know that this exists and they will want to know. Like if you were to call them up
they'll look at
and
minutes.
say, hey, I've got an issue, they're gonna be like, are you an authorized contact? They'll wanna verify that.
Correct.
So it's all to suppress the rest of us board members.
It's all to make sure that.
Master plan.
All to make sure we don't get somebody
I'm really
that's out
just
there
joking.
It's,
running up the
it's to
lawyer.
make sure that the board's represented here,
Right,
but also to mitigate a little bit of risk of like, not everybody just calling the lawyer all the time
Yes.
and running up the
Bills
bill.
get run up.
pulling a Rock Ridge.
Yeah, we don't want
That
that.
wasn't Rock Ridge.
So, Okay,
Seen a little of that at the county level too.
okay,
I'm motion.
I'll second it.
okay, further discussion? Oh, no, I'll do this roll call. Rogers,
Hi.
Jansen,
Hi.
McClone,
Aye.
Reddix,
All right.
Shirley, aye. All right, motion carries. Okay, 7.0 are discussion and action items. 7.1 is to approve the bond sale ratification resolution as presented here in the packet.
So moved.
My second.
Okay, further discussion?
I feel like because we had him on there,
It was a good day for us and
that was, I feel like I want to ask the due diligence questions, but
we already did, yep.
Yeah, right. So anybody watching this, we had our presentation at the top of the meeting from PTMA. And the cliff notes are the bond sale went really well, favorable interest rate, and that is great. And this is a formality in order to take it to the next step to close the sale.
Right.
So, okay, Rogers,
Hi.
Jansen,
hi.
McClone,
Aye.
Reddix,
All right.
Shirley, aye. And the resolution has been adopted. All right,
I'll
all we got.
motion to adjourn.
okay.
5:43.